Alrighty, so if you are somebody who has been keeping up with Dokkan over the last couple of months, I'm sure something that you have heard of but might not be completely familiar with is the global and JP sync. Now, in today's video, I aim to kind of tell you guys what you need to know about this sync and everything that is going to be impacted going forward. There are some things that we know are concrete, and there are some other things that we know are a little bit of a gray area between the versions. So the first thing I want to get into is what exactly is the sync. So the sync itself is not going to be like global and JP merge into like an international version that's just one server and everybody's playing on the same thing. No, that is not the case. What it is going to be the JP version running independently and the global version running independently. However, their schedules are going to be the same. So any Dokkan Fest, any major release, any major celebration, they are going to be celebrated at the same time between both versions, and aka everything is going to be coming out at the same time. So if you are not familiar with how things have been going, you're just getting into the game, the way things have been for almost the last 10 years is JP tends to get things first, and then it usually will take a varying number of months for it to come to the global version, because the JP version came out in January of 2015 when the global version came out in July of 2015. So almost 10 years in, and we are finally catching up to the same schedule. So now when something comes out on JP, it's going to be coming out on global at the same time. So that is kind of the base explanation of what it is going to be, and nothing is really going to be changing in terms of how the game is operated. It is just going to be changing how things are done in terms of like scheduling for both versions. So if you are someone that isn't concerned about hype or anything like that with units, it doesn't really matter. If you'll probably just be able to enjoy the game the same way that you have been, but keep in mind the hype is going to be overall higher for everybody because everything is going to be coming out at the same time. So here is something that we do know. If we pan over here, if we go and we look at this right here, we have our browser source right here. We have around summer of 2024. This was shown during the 9th anniversary fan meetup for the JP side of things. And this is what we got. We got a picture saying the operation schedule unification timing will be in the summer of 2024. Now, if you are not familiar with how the schedule of Dokkan works, usually the way things go is we have what is known as the Worldwide Download Celebration campaign, or sometimes they just call it the Worldwide Celebration, right? Typically, this was the mark to celebrate a certain milestone for, you know, what's the word? A download celebration. So like in the past, we've had like 100 million downloads, 200 million, and then we're all the way up to almost 350 million. We're probably north of 400 at this point, or we're very close to 400 million global downloads. So the entire US population essentially has downloaded the game worldwide. So that's pretty cool. So we know that, right? And if you guys don't know, this is celebrated at the end of August and has been a same-time celebration for years, right? This is one of the most hyped times for the game, and essentially the hype of this celebration is going to carry over going forward between major celebrations like the anniversary and everything like that. So basically every celebration in the summer of 2024 forward is going to be a same-time celebration, which is super sick because the hype is going to be there and everything is going to be pretty cool. So that is one thing that we have to keep in mind, and that is one thing that we do know. So what we can look at here, if we take a look at this image right here, I got this directly from the Dokkan Now, you can see we have some of the roadmap things, and what we can know is like July and August, this is around where the time is going to be. If you see my cursor here, this is around the time that we're going to be getting the sync, right? So with the team copying function, the arrival of the new SSR character, and then right after the 9th anniversary, so anytime for August, that is where we're probably going to be seeing this this change, right? I think that is something that is going to be pretty cool, and that is something that we have to keep in mind. So end of August, more than likely, maybe beginning of August, like transitioning into the Worldwide Download Celebration, this is going to be the time that we need to keep in mind. So what we could talk about now that we've kind of looked at all this stuff, we'll do some gameplay while we're talking about this, but what we need to talk about is the things that we know are going to be, well, the things that could be up in the air, right? So if we just want to briefly go over it, what exactly do we know? It's the summer of 2024, and the versions are going to be going on the same schedule. So now what we need to do is explain the differences between the versions and what could potentially be staying and what could potentially be going. So one of the most major things that we need to talk about is the perks that Global has, and it may be something you've heard just talking to people about the game, is the term Global Foresight. Now, what is Global Foresight? Essentially, what Global Foresight is the ability to know what's coming because JP is ahead by a various amount of months. So the big perk of this is, we always tell you to save your stones, and this is because if you're a JP player, you are months ahead, and you can tell people what they need to be looking out for. So, with the games being on the same schedule, when a new unit hits and the hype from that unit is there, it's going to be hitting global players at the same time, and you're not going to have as much time in between to save for the major celebrations as, you're going to be caught up in the hype just as JP players would normally be. So that is something that we need to keep in mind. Global foresight, especially for a free-to-play player, which I assume most of you are, is very important because you know that some of these banners are going to be easy skips, right? Like, for example, the Dokkan Fest Super Trunks banner, if you guys remember that, the featured lineup on that banner was terrible. Literally none of the units were usable in any of the hard content. Unless you like really cherry picked a situation for them, and that banner was just an easy skip, right? But if you say you were maybe a global player and you were really a big fan of Super Trunks and you got it at the same time as JP, maybe you would have been caught up in the hype, you would have had less time to save, and you would have not known whether or not that was a skip for you or not. So that is something that you do have to keep in mind. The loss of global foresight is going to be a major shift for a lot of people that you're not going to be used to, especially if you're a global man that's been playing for a long time. The loss of that foresight is going to hit, right? Like, you're going to be like, damn, I wish I still had this, but I think all in all, it is a worthy kind of change to make. Now, another thing, that is one thing we do know. Now, one thing we do not know, because there's just no way to tell this right now, is how they're going to be doing global exclusive perks. So, something that they're no strangers to doing over the last few years is I don't know if it's still called this anymore, but it used to be called the Pilaf's Trove, where we had, general packs that you could buy. They would have tickets on banners and stuff like that. You get extra stuff like Elder Kai's, skill orbs. You'd be able to buy these special packs where if you didn't want to spend stones on the banner, maybe you spend $35 for the featured pack and you just get like a multi with a guaranteed featured unit in it. You save your stones and you're good to go. But if we don't have that anymore, it could be very interesting because, like, one thing that you guys have to know is JP does not have access to this, right? On JP, the stones are cheaper, kind of. I'm pretty sure they're cheaper. But we do. The trade-off for that is we don't have packs, right? We can't buy special packs. If we can honestly just pull this up. I'm not going to open up like the purchase info or anything. But if we go to the sales tab right here, you can see we have like ability to buy stones, and we also have the ability to buy special packs and stuff like that, where we have link skill orbs that we can buy, and then we also have the daily capsule for the stones that we can buy. But in turn, you can see there's no like special Saiyan Day pack where you can buy tickets or anything like that. None of that is in here. So there is that chance that Global could potentially be losing some of those packs in order to kind of stay in tune with the JP version, because especially when things are the same time celebrations, they like to be a little bit more fair about how they do things, where top grossing is going to be equal between the versions, so that way Global doesn't get like 100 stones for top grossing or vice versa, while the other version only gets 30. You do have to keep that in mind. And something else that we don't know how they're going to do it, I'm sure some of you on Global have also heard the term summon with the discounts and then nothing else. Now, JP, unless it is specifically instructed, or not instructed, but it's specifically shown, like there's a multi that you can do for 30 stones on like a featured category banner or something like that. Like if you guys have ever seen the announcement, it'll be like the Saviors category banner, which is tied to whatever the weakness for the EZA is currently at the time. Those are the only time that we have discounted multis with like a guaranteed featured. But Global, sometimes you'll be able to do a multi for 25 stones. You'll be able to do a multi for 35 stones. You'll be able to do a multi for 40, and then maybe you get one free. And then even during stuff like Super Saiyan 4 Goku or the Vegeta and Trunks banner, you will be able to do a summon. You'll be able to do multiple rounds of those discounts, which is obviously going to be very beneficial to you, because that is just the best rate that you're going to be able to get for multis. Doing them cheaper is obviously better than doing them at full price. I'm sure I don't need to elaborate on that. So again, if we want to look at this from a lens of potential fairness for both versions, there is the chance that the discounts go away and things kind of go normal. Because if they're going to operate on the same schedule, it is not guaranteed that everything changes between the versions, but it's also not guaranteed that everything stays the same, right? So that is kind of the gray area, the things we don't know so far. So just to kind of recap what we've talked about so far, what we do know is it's coming in the summer of 2024, and the versions are going to be on the same schedule, not merging. They're going to be running independently from each other, but on the same exact schedule. And then what we don't know is if Global is going to be losing, and we also know that Global Foresight is no longer going to be a thing going into 2024. So, or almost 2025, excuse me. And then we also know that, what we also don't know, is if Global is going to keep the global exclusive perks that they've been using for the last few years. That has been very helpful for players, spenders and non-spenders alike. So that's what we do know. That's what we don't know so far. And just to wrap up this video, keep in mind that the 10th anniversary, there is a high, like I would say almost, it's a 100% chance that the 10th anniversary is going to be shared. So this could potentially be, like, the 9th anniversary feels like a huge year for Dokkan, but there's also a chance that the 10th year could be even bigger. So this is going to be a really fun year for the game. I think, things are changing with Dokkan, and it's crazy to think that we're going into year 10, and it feels like they're just scratching the surface for just how good this game could be. But with all that being said, let me know what you guys think about the sync. That's everything you need to know so far. We will be keeping you, I will be keeping you posted with news as the time as it continues to break. Right now, we don't have too much to go off aside from what I've said in this video. So let me know down below. Are you guys excited for the sync? What version are you guys playing on? You can see right here from what we're doing, I'm playing on JP. But if you play on global, let me know all down below. And if you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of my Dokkan content. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.